Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. So the big news going around is that in December, Disney Plus lost 700,000 subscribers. Obviously, you see that number and it looks extremely concerning. To see an exodus like that, especially as Skeleton Crew was running, it doesn't look good. I mean, before looking into this, I didn't know how many subscribers Disney Plus had. If you're a hater of Disney Plus or hoping at least that this number will spur on some major changes, I've got some bad news. We've seen this headline many times, not just for Disney Plus, but more commonly for Netflix. Netflix has lost X amount of subscribers. Why is Netflix failing, etc., etc.? It's more complicated than that. So Disney's subscriber loss coincided with a pretty major price hike in December, alongside, well, another unpopular policy also implemented by Netflix, a crackdown on password sharing. So I said I didn't know how many Disney Plus subscribers there were off the top of my head. Well, the quarterly reports actually give us that number, and that's where the 700,000 user headlines are coming from. Right now, Disney Plus has 124.6 million users, down from 125.3 million. 125.3 minus 124.6, that's 0.7. 700,000. In other words, that's a loss of 0.5% of users. However, an article on Yahoo Finance correctly describes this phenomenon, which is the same thing we've seen with Netflix. Although some of the exit numbers are loud and headline grabbing, they come alongside double-digit percentage price increases. So again, according to the Yahoo Finance article, which references the quarterly reports, Disney Plus has went from making $902.16 million monthly to $940.73 million monthly. And you know, that's the long-time sage business price you'll often see given to entrepreneurs or artists who are picking up lots of clients. Increase your prices. Plenty of people will stick around, and the ones who don't are lower value anyway. Obviously, the comparison is not direct when it comes to consumers, but the streaming model of just slowly hiking prices is one which has seemed to do well in the space and which I don't expect to see stop anytime soon. There's definitely a graph in the Disney Plus offices detailing the expected loss of subscribers given a price increase versus the expected increase in revenue. They're going to find that intersection point and keep pushing it. Once a quarter, once every year, whatever makes most economic sense for them. There are two takeaways for this. For one, I wouldn't expect Disney Plus to change their strategy anytime soon. And for two, I think the claim that this is based solely on Disney Plus releasing bad content, on the new Star Wars shows or Marvel shows being bad, is a little too simplistic. It's sort of the natural response to increasing prices. However, that's not to say that Disney Plus shouldn't be concerned about somewhat stagnant subscriber growth generally. Yeah, the price of Disney Plus is increasing, but the price of everything is increasing. If you look at Netflix, for example, even with consistent increases in price, the growth in subscribers is still relatively linear. Right now, they have about 301 million subscribers. That's a 70 million increase from Q1 2023, a 100 million increase from 2020, whereas Disney Plus has actually seen an overall numbers drop, not just between quarters, but actually since Q1 2023 when they were sitting at 161.8 million. So although they are still squeezing more out of their existing customer base, they are really only seeing relatively modest increases in revenue because they're not pulling in new viewers. And I do wonder whether the era of Disney Plus has already hit its golden age and is now on the way down. Certainly, we know Disney is now dedicating fewer resources to streaming, especially with the big brands like Marvel and Star Wars. They're trying to make a return to movie theaters. But it's also true that last year, what Disney did release just did not do well. Disney Plus did not have a surprise hit like Fallout. It doesn't have a consistent mega series right now like, say, Squid Game. Nor does it have really the same back catalog of shows pulling in consistent repeat viewers. One thing I want to point out as well is going back to that report a few weeks ago that The Acolyte was the second highest performing streaming series on Disney Plus, that does come with a caveat. I've seen it bandied around as the second best performing content on Disney Plus for the year. That's not true. It was the second best performing streaming original. That's a very important point. It came behind Percy Jackson and the Olympians or whatever that show was. Not really a great sign. It had pretty pitiful viewing numbers. You look at, for example, Moana, the movie, which released on Disney Plus, that had almost 10 billion minutes watched. Even more concerning, I think, looking at the potential of future streaming options on Disney Plus, something like Cars, which was newly released on Disney Plus, but obviously an old project, still had 4.54 billion minutes watched, again compared to almost 3. So for a company like Disney, which already produces a ton of films and media, does it make sense for them to pour money into streaming specific content when something like Cars, which they made a boatload of money off in theaters, is now one of their most watched programs? And that's to say nothing about everything in the backlog. All the old episodes of The Simpsons, all the old Star Wars, Marvel, Disney and Pixar movies. Like, I've got kids. Like, I know what they're watching, and it's not streaming originals. So yeah, personally, I would like to see a breakdown between new made for streaming content and sort of the backlog, movies made for theaters, movies from the 90s or earlier even, vis-a-vis the total minutes watched. Because right now, it at least seems clear to me what is driving subscribers for Disney Plus, and it is that backlog. And if you're a fan of frequently releasing streaming content for Marvel or Star Wars or really anything under the Disney umbrella, that would be a little concerning for me. This isn't a Disney Plus issue uniquely, although I think the lack of true hits for Disney Plus in last year and probably this year is really, really concerning. All of the major players, Prime, Paramount Plus, even Apple TV, they pale in comparison to Netflix when it comes to original content being watched. And that's why Netflix is the king of streaming. Netflix makes the most content you can't get anywhere else. And that, combined with just its vast library of movies from across genres and from across industries, it makes sense why it's dominating, in my opinion. So what could Disney Plus do to change this? They need another Mandalorian, honestly. I think they were very fortunate that The Mandalorian Season 1 came out when it did, because we don't know the exact numbers, but episodes as they were releasing were apparently hitting 1 to 2 billion minutes watched. Same is true as Mando Season 2. Almost all estimates have the first 2 seasons above 10 billion minutes viewed, and even still, looking at last year, The Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 3 were still in the top 10 most viewed original series for Disney Plus. So yeah, Disney Plus needs another hit, but they've put themselves in a very difficult box where they've diluted both the Marvel and Star Wars brand through a series of mediocre shows, some of which I quite liked, like Ahsoka, were not as popular with the general audience as they should have been, and now it's going to be really hard to recapture that attention, even if they do have a really special show like The Mandalorian Season 1. So they need to be patient, but instead most likely took the approach of quantity to drive subscribers. They're in the problem they are now. I wouldn't expect that to change, but also even a loss of the existing subscriber base is probably not going to drive major changes because they're still making up for that with increasing prices and the general popularity of their backlog and the things they're already making for theater, which really they're just getting the chance to monetize again. Those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours down below.